All right. Welcome into another episode of Cerberus Sports Talk. Our Oakland A's debut. We're going to be talking about Mark Kotze's first win. We're talking about prospect returns from these trades and new fan favorite, Christian Pache. Stay tuned to find out. All right, yeah. So the weekend just came back. Oakland A's go on the road to play Philadelphia. Go 1-2 in the opening weekend. But I wanted to hit on some of the points here. And the first one, is going to be Kotze's first win. Kotze, new manager for the Oakland A's this year. I thought I was very up in the air whether I thought he would be a good manager and everything like that. But looking forward to what I've seen and what I've heard so far. So Dallas Braden came out and said that when he was playing with Mark Kotze, that he was one of the most prepared guys on the field. And I think that lends itself to being a good manager, being prepared, having the scouting reports, being a good guy in the locker room. And so I think that him getting his first win off his back is something that's great. What's up, Amin? Thank you for coming in here, my man. And so having that go ahead and get that first win off his back has got to be great. You look at Martin Gallegos came out and said that Bruce Bochy, Jim Leland, and Trevor Hoffman were among those who reached out to him after his first win, saying that, quote, definitely a special moment. But again, I'll always give the players the credit. It only happens when you have a group that goes out there and plays hard. So already giving the credit to the players and doing those kind of things with his first win. Obviously, they're headed down to Tampa today. The game starts in about an hour. So I'm going to try to keep this thing short so all you A's fans can watch that game if you're able to. And I'm in, no, it doesn't, because 89, we still beat you guys. So keep it going there, my man. And so we are doing good. I think there's a couple games, the lack of hitting, but the hitting with runners in scoring position and a lot of these things with a lot of these young guys. Kotze's got his hands full, but so far I've liked what I've seen. And so let's go into maybe, some obviously early stats, only 3 games in, but the leaders in average, you got Kemp batting 333, Pache, new fan favorite, batting 300, Piscotti, 286. We got 3 tied with 1 homer, and Brown leading the team with 4 RBIs. So this team is going to be interesting to see who steps up in absence of the big hitters like Chapman and Olsen this season. And that's what getting into MLB debuts. So we had Oakland A's debuts with Kevin Smith and Pache. But we had a lot of first-time MLB debuts, especially out of the bullpen. I think none bigger than Zach Jackson here. And not to piggyback on Martin Gallegos, the excellent writer here, but, he wrote an article about, he shakes his nerves in his debut, and it was really something interesting. He put him in a tight spot, up 4-2 or down 4-2 on the 8th. You have to get a shutdown inning to keep the A's within striking distance. And then Philly has a notoriously rambunctious fan base for any sport. They're not afraid to boo their own players, let alone the imposing players. So it was going to be something that was going to be hard for him and his nerves going out there. And he said, quote, "It was everything I'd hoped it'd be. You don't play in the stadiums like that in the minors. The crowd here obviously has been incredible. For a place to open up and make your debut, I don't know if there's a lot better. It was definitely cool to look out and see those people out there." So Jackson comes in, walks his first guy on Hoskins, and then quickly gets a mound visit from, Scott Emerson. They regroup. He gets back within and shuts down the rest of the inning there. And so it's something that is really good to see from a young guy, been put in that situation, and then get a shutdown inning right there to keep the fan base or to keep the A's within striking distance going into the 9th. Now, I know they didn't end up winning those games. But it's something along the lines of having something to build on, because the bullpen is going to be such an unknown commodity this year with all these guys. And so it's something that's going to be definitely interesting to look on. Now, obviously we're on YouTube. So if you're listening on on the on a podcast while you're driving. I'm taking fan questions here, and I'm in the dream again, coming in saying he thinks it's tough being an A's fan because all you guys trade all your good players. He said Chapman, Olsen, Manaea, Canna. I think Canna was a free agent, but yeah, I mean, it's the part of being an A's fan. They don't like to pay. I mean, our salary was the same as it was when we won the championship in '89, a little over 39 million. Our last big contract we gave out was to Chavez in '05. So it's definitely tough. They don't want to pay their quality players, and it's very tough to do what Miami and the Florida Marlins did back then, where they had a super low payroll. They go in there, they win, they blow it up, they build it up from the ground up again and do it again. And so it's very tough to do that. The A's have been close, but have failed in the playoffs multiple times. Ownership is saying that they're going to be changing this when they get the new stadium. But I don't think cheapness is a location-based trait. I think that you look at top stadiums in the league include Camden and Pittsburgh and PNC. And they don't spend up either. And so I'm looking at this saying, like, okay, you haven't really shown any inkling of paying anybody, good money. I mean, Olsen got a great return, and we're going to talk about one of his guys that we got back in return, but you haven't shown any inkling to pay anybody when you could have paid Marcus Semien and had an MVP on your team and really make a push for the A's to make the playoffs. And yet you didn't do that. And so why is that going to change with the location? I don't think it is. I think that the A's are always going to be in this iconic recycle thing, but I hope I'm wrong, because the stadium looks beautiful, and I hope with the ad revenue. But you're talking about a guy who owns the A's, who's a billionaire. The A's are a lucrative franchise, so they're one of the most lucrative franchises in California, and they still don't spend money. And so, how is that going to change? It's just showing the wrong thing to the fan base, hiking up season tickets, hiking up everything else, and beers aren't the same as 1990. Hot dogs aren't the same as 1990, but our payroll is the same. It just doesn't send the right message. So hopefully that changes. We'll see if it does, but I'm not too optimistic until it happens. I've just been bitten too much with that fan base there. So let's go into early prospect returns from some of these trades that I'm talked about. You have guys like Langoliers. You guys have guys like Christian Pache showing early returns. And so, we'll get to some of the minor league stuff here first. Let me pull that up here. So Langoliers obviously was a first-round pick in Atlanta in 2019. Catcher, already playing in AAA. Huge power and a huge arm for a catcher. And so you're thinking, man, is this guy just going to be just dropping bombs and just have a low batting average? Well, so far, batting 316, obviously just over the weekend, career 257 in the minors, but batting over 316 this year, OPS 1.139. You're looking at 6 hits and 19 at bats and 3 homers, some opposite field bombs, six RBIs. And so doing a great job. He's ranked second in our prospect pool after all the trades and everything, besides other fellow catcher and first round pick for the A's, Tyler Soderstrom, who is playing in high A at this moment. And so looking at how I think this affects maybe the A's going forward this season, if Langoliers can continue play at this level, you're looking, obviously the DH has always been there for the A's, but they went 2 catchers in the lineup on Sunday, 1 DHing, 1 behind the dish. And if you can get Langoliers and Murphy to be hitting bombs for you and increase that power and giving fans something to look forward to, you might be able to see Langoliers towards the end of the season. Obviously, Las Vegas is the number 1 hitters park in AAA, so maybe these numbers are a little skewed. I know they set the home run record last year, but you're looking at in previous years, last season, Langoliers hit 22 home runs behind the dish. So definitely has, not only in Las Vegas, but had power last year. So, it's definitely something to look forward to. And our third prospect, Zach Galoff, I think that's how you pronounce it, 6'3", 205 third baseman. His ETA to be in the majors is roughly 2024. He's a 22-year-old. You're looking at he plays for Midland in Double-A, drafted in 2018 and then in the second round. So his stats this year, he is on a tear, guys. 563 over the weekend, OPS of 1549. Like, come on, just tearing the cover off the baseball. 2 home runs, 8 RBIs. Can't get this guy out. And so a lot of the top prospects are playing well. And it's something that you like to see going forward, because if that's what we're doing as a rebuild, which technically they are based on the signals that they sent by sending all the best players away. You want to see the top prospects produce. And so far, all of them are producing. Soderstrom as well. And so I'm liking what I'm seeing. We'll see how these guys progress going forward. I think Langoliers is probably going to be the guy that will get the nod closer to the end of the season, maybe as him and Murphy just switch it off DH and everything like that. And then obviously Pache is already up in the majors there, having a good first weekend. And so it's something that I'm very in tune with this season. Going to be focusing a little bit more on the minor leagues and see how they produce. And maybe I'll have a minor league segment every week, when talking about the A's. But it's something to look forward to and seeing maybe these guys come up. Because as you know, being an Oakland A's fan, we embrace anybody that comes up. All right. And so it's something that I think that it's something to look forward to. And Boomer saying, hey, Oakland A's lost me as a fan. Go Giants. No, Giants can suck it. I'm always going to be an Oakland A's fan. I've always been an Oakland A's fan. And this is just something that you have to be used to as part of your fandom, I guess. And hopefully they change it. I'm looking forward to this team progressing. This is probably going to be a rough season. I hope it's not over 100 loss season. But I think that they could make some strides toward the end of the year. And there's going to be some fun players to watch. And so we're going to get into, early returns here on the new fan favorite, Christian Pache. So interesting thing with him is as soon as he got traded, he threw up, on Twitter, like, oh, I'm so disappointed in this. I wanted to be in Atlanta forever. And was really downtrodden by this decision by the organization to move on from him. Was the opening day starter for them last season, didn't progress that way throughout the entire year. But was a part of the playoff push, and you're looking at a player who was super disappointed after winning a ring and wanting to stay with that franchise and just getting shipped off. And then you saw within like an hour, he made another tweet saying like, hey, I hope I'm excited to be in Oakland. I hope these fans embrace me as much as the people in Atlanta. And you saw the Oakland A's fan just come right to his side and embrace him right away. And I think he's starting to see how good the Oakland A's fan base is. And so, I think it's something along the lines of will they continue to embrace him, and will he just improve and blossom into this fan favorite that I think that he will be. And so you look at not only, like I said, the fan base. So 209 Tacos, part owner of the lastibar.com, excellent fan merch site for the Oakland A's. They do a lot of creative stuff, and one of my boys, Sandlot's, come on the podcast a couple times. He made a graphic for him, and Pache reacted to it. He Christian liked one of my tweets about him. And so he's really engaging with the fan base. And I think that it's something that maybe these newer players are doing. And I know baseball doesn't have it as much as football and basketball with the online presence. It's more of a, like a buttoned up style league traditionally, but that's changing. And I think Christian engaging with the fan base, seeing what that kind of do. I think you're going to see all the banners in left field, be geared towards him. They really like Ramon. I think Pache is going to be pleasantly surprised about the fan base in center field and how they're going to completely embrace him. And so let's get into some of his stats, right? You're looking at, he hit 300 on the weekend, but some of the advanced stats here, you're looking, never had a higher barrel average than 5% in any major league year, but already off to this year, 28.6%. Now, obviously small sample size, 243 pitches he saw last year, only 24 this year so far. But it's nice to see the progression. He's already has a higher exit velocity than he's ever had in his entire career, with 107.6 in his max exit, and his average exit is 95.5. So all the advance and number spots are going up. Now, granted, one weekend, I understand he had a decent, he lowered his K percentage. So, it's something that I'm looking for, this to be obviously a continuous thing for the A's to continue going forward. But we might have got a steal here. And I know that, Matt Olson, his production isn't going to be easy to duplicate, but a guy that can come in and instantly produce like this so far, hopefully he can continue this to the rest of the season. If he can be a 300 hitter guy, which I don't think he is, I think he'll probably settle around anywhere 260 to 280. But if he can hit 300, he showed that he's willing to steal a bag, even though he got called back for a foul tip. And then he plays excellent defense. His hat can't seem to stay on his head, though. I mean, I know that was part of the win in Philadelphia, but I always thought it was funny. Even the small pop flies, the hat came off with that righteous moss that he's got going up top. So I wish I had that kind of haircut there. So, yeah, he's just an interesting player to watch. And I think something along the lines of, very dynamic player. And then with him and Ramon going on in the outfield when Ramon comes off a suspension, I really think it's going to be something interesting and good for the A's fans to watch going forward. And so I think it's going to be something to be said here with the A's and their young prospect pool and coming up and how this is going to do. I don't think that the A's finish higher than third if everything goes right in this team. Most likely fifth or fourth, depending on how good the Angels pitching is going to be. And will the prospects of the Mariners be able to do it a full season as well? And then Texas, I don't think is good enough that even though they spent $500 million in the middle of the infield. So there's still a lot of other teams that don't really have everything that needs to go right for them as well. But I just don't see it for the A's finishing in a playoff spot. But I hope I don't see a 100-loss season like some of those Astros teams, back in the early 2000s and everything like that. So, he's doing a great job there. I really like him. I hope he can continue this and really embrace the franchise here. Last thing from Boomer saying they're leaving to Vegas and literally trash the fan base with this last move. I disagree with you. I don't think they're going to be leaving to Vegas. I think that's all posturing. If that does happen, then yeah, they'll lose probably the majority of their fan base. I know my brother was a Raiders fan, and when they moved to Vegas, that was it for him. He stopped watching. So I do agree with you. If they do move to Vegas, if that eventually goes down the way you think it's going to be, then yeah, they're going to be losing a lot of fan bases. But I saw this fire sale coming, and so I wasn't too surprised when it happened. Yeah, it sucks because when you invest so much time and effort and jersey money and all this kind of stuff to players, you want to see them stay on the team. You want to see the team invest in that. And so I'm not happy with the franchise, Boomer, by any means. I think the fact that they're putting the season ticket up and they're lowering the product on the field doesn't bode well. The fact that they got rid of the fan experience with the membership program that was wildly successful, they just got rid of that. And then, I just think they're sending the wrong message to the fan base in general. So I do agree with you there. I just don't think they leave Oakland. I think eventually it will get done a lot longer than I thought it should take. But hopefully that they go out and they make some moves here and get that stadium done. Give us some fans to something to cheer about. But I do have a feeling you're going to be seeing a lot of 20 jerseys going forward with this young crowd. Pache is going to be something to watch for. And I think he's probably my new fan favorite already. The emphatic slide into home plate, getting his hand underneath there, fist pumping and the way he plays the game reminds of people of a lot of Ramon Laureano as another fan favorite. And so I think you might see the torch passed, so to speak, but it's out for. And so I think you're looking at something that it could be the makings of a really good player. And then maybe we see guys like Nick Allen come up and play, short towards the end of the season if Andrews gets moved or something along those lines. But I really think that the A's have something good going here with some of these young prospects and that type of thing. And I really look at something growing here. I mean, obviously, I don't think they're a playoff team this season, but maybe they can make some moves. Most likely Montas gets traded at the deadline. Maybe they get another high prospect there. And some of these young guys have to make the jump, obviously. Puck has to be a major contributor and going forward. And Caprillion, when he comes off injury, continue his rise from last season. Murphy take a jump into a more prominent role. And then guys like Kemp, keep that veteran thing going there. So we'll see how it goes. I mean, I was pleasantly surprised, even though they went 1-2. They hit surprisingly well with runners in scoring position. They didn't obviously get a lot of runners in scoring position to bring them in overall the entire year, but you saw a really breakthrough inning in the first game. You saw the pitching hold the game down and only allow really until the ninth, a shutout, a bid there for the whole bullpen. And so there's a lot of stuff that you can pick and choose to be happy about. And like I said, it's only 3 games. And so it's something I think to look forward to. And Boomer, like you said here, you're hurt by them trading your favorite players, and I get that. I have a Chapman jersey, I have an Olsen jersey. My favorite pitcher was Barry Zito. I get that, and it's tough on fans emotionally investing in these players and them not staying there. The A's haven't had a player like Jeter stay there the entire career. They haven't had a player like across the bay and Buster Posey stay there his entire career and be effective, and them reward that. Brandon Crawford and all that. And so, if it's for me, I think that I'm, skeptic of the organization that they'll spend once they get the new stadium, whether it be in Vegas or in the Bay Area, just because there's too much money in pro sports. You don't have to. So in the league, until the league makes a salary floor, a cap floor, which like they do in hockey, they have a cap floor. I think if they did that in baseball and made the cap floor close to 80 million, which would still is bottom 10, I think the 20th place team has a $77 million salary cap this year, or a salary this year. I think if they made it 80 million or even 70 million, they could have kept Olsen. They could have kept a lot of these guys. And so, do you want to play mediocre players decent money, or do you want to play or pay premier players to stay with your franchise? And they could have a guy that the players can root for. So I think that's something the league needs to look at, is having a minimum and not allowing ownership of the Pirates and these teams to pay almost nothing and get away with it. I mean, you look at football has a pretty good competitive balance. You look at a lot of times teams in last place make the playoffs the following season, and where baseball, you have to get all this stuff to gestate up over multiple seasons to make an impact. Hockey it can be that way as well, as far as the salary floor forces teams to spend money on players and keep their own. And so I think that it'll be something to go forward. And I think if Boomer, like you said, if they move to Vegas, I'll still keep an eye on them. But, I'm also a Dodgers fan because my mom's from LA. I'll probably just focus more on the Dodgers there and go that route. But it's been a pleasure talking to you guys here in the chat. Obviously, they're playing Tampa for a series. Tough series there. Tampa is always a good team. We'll see how this young team bounces in this longest road trip. I think it's 10 games to start the season in a long while, and see how they can go from there. Get the W today. Let's go and break down this lineup here before I call it a daily pull-up athletics PR real quick while I'm on the air, doing a little off-the-cuff stuff. So your lineup today: Paul Blackburn getting the nod, Tony Kemp starting, and then Andrews at short. McKinney is going to be playing first today. Murphy back behind the dish. Brown in right field. Pinder in left. Vogt DHing. Sheldon Nurse going to be playing third base. So Piscotty, even though he's hitting well, getting the day off, maybe a Veterans Day off right there. And Pache coming back, number 20, playing center field. So we'll see how they go against the pretty good that race team consistently, and see if they can sneak off a couple W's. Again, my Twitter handle is @RandoCommando24. Please like and subscribe here on YouTube. Thank you guys for coming in, and as always, go A's.